In his absence, I'm going to give part of the presentation that Dr. Giza was going to give, because there's at least one slide in his presentation that I want to share with everyone on why I'm going to make the following statement. And that is, I'm going to be able to show you on a chemical level how long it takes the brain to go back to its normal state. In some commissions, I've seen that there's a mandatory 2-day rest period, a mandatory 4-day or 6-day. There are some after a knockout where it's merely 2 weeks. This information that we've been able to gather through the work of UCLA at the insistence and prodding of the WBC to have some functional, useful information that we can use as a ringside physician, as I am in California, that we are able to use, but also some standards that we can do. There are some huge things that UCLA is doing. These are the sort of images that can be ascertained from the brain, and the easiest explanation is that as the brain is injured, there are different colors that are there. And you can map those types of colors, and you can also see when the brain would return to its normal state. That is why it's so increasingly important that there's at least a baseline MRI for all of the WBC fighters, and that on a yearly basis, an MRI needs to be collected, gathered, so comparisons can be done. What I want to show you on this particular slide, and one of the pieces of information that's so incredibly important, that's a discovery, the first in the world, and the WBC has been involved with UCLA on that point. Usually when there's been a severe injury, the gold standard is that we have always been giving them glucose. The information, again, from the WBC, we found that that is not the appropriate fuel for the brain. The appropriate fuel is a ketone, or what we call lactate. This is a revolution. This is something that we had never known in medicine before. And there have been many people who have questioned why the WBC is involved in this type of research, which doesn't seem to have any apparent value for ringside. This discovery is going to save lives far beyond boxing. Any major traumatic head injury now will be shifted from what we've been doing for at least 50 years to what we discovered with the pushing from the WBC and, of course, the vision of Dr. Jose Suleiman. The most important thing is that it shows that it takes a minimum of about 30 days for the brain, even with mild concussion. So your 4-round fight, that it takes approximately 30 days for the brain and the spinal fluid to balance where it was from the before to the after. So I don't know what it is in each commission, but I certainly recommend that the minimum in between any fighting should be 30 days. Secondly, without question, the biggest problem that happens is not necessarily apparent from in the ring, but the smaller subconcussives, the mild concussions, those repeated blows, which we know are far more in the gym than they are during the actual event we see. After a fight, a boxer must not participate in any rigorous activity, including running, for a minimum of 2 weeks. That is the recommendation we've gotten from UCLA, and it's meant to help the sport. And in particular, it's what the foundation of the WBC has been about, is how can we protect the fighters in the environments that they're in. The ball is just starting to roll, and we're getting more and more information. We remain the leaders in terms of any organized body, not just sanctioning body, for the health and safety of the boxers.